I always enjoyed books. Despite my dyslexia, there was never a point in my life where I disliked books. I always loved stories. But the idea that I would be ever be able to learn how to read and write, no. For the longest time, I thought that I could never do this.
35 years ago, in my very first teaching assignment, they gave me 12 wonderful kids who were all dyslexic, and I had no idea what dyslexia was. And I think I was just wowed by their intelligence and creativity. And they launched me into what was to become a lifelong passion of really trying to understand how the dyslexic mind learns to read.
I remember the struggles I went through in school mainly. Like the tests I had to do, I had dyslexia, so they were like, you have balance issues, you need glasses. So when I was a kid, no.
Figuring out a whole sentence by myself, that was almost impossible.
I have 4 children. My eldest daughter, Erica, started when she was 5. After school she was at, they saw nothing. And you took her, and within one time you said, Cheryl, she's dyslexic.
I think what really separates Logical Letters is that it's really utilizing a dyslexic student's strengths. Episodic memory, interconnected thinking, big picture thinking, logic, and our program uses all of those strengths as the common underlying thread that's part and parcel of the program from the very beginning.
There had to be a logical story, or at least a logical pattern, put on top of these rote memory symbols for me to be able to remember.
Because of the stories. The stories made the rules easier to remember.
You take little stories and you put them all together.
Each one connects to the next story, to the next, to the next, to the next. It's all one together.
And he was able, with this program, to separate the act of reading from the being smart, and that was huge.
I remember when I saw that moment where it first clicked. I can't remember what word it was or what sentence. I caught it clearly so long ago. I remember when I did, I remember the feeling that I was just like, finally starting to make progress.
I mean, we started with Marcy, who was 5'6". Today, Jordan's 20 years old and is an engineering student at McGill. And when you sit in front of all these therapists and doctors and they say, oh, he'll never be in a regular school, he'll never be able to do other things that kids do, and then here he is, engineering, graduated a private prep school with high honors.
We always knew that Jack was a smart boy, very creative boy, and now that he can keep up, well, he's reaching the stage where he can keep up with his peers, that he is feeling a lot more confident, and he's able to express himself and show some of his smarts to his teachers and classmates.
I enjoy reading books a lot. I read Mr. Fox, and that's a great book.
I'm actually really happy I have dyslexia. I find that people who have dyslexia learn differently, and they learn, in my opinion, I learn better than people who don't have dyslexia.
Everybody thinks you're being lazy. Everybody thinks you're just not doing it. But you're working twice as hard as everybody else to be able to do that, and it will stick with you for the rest of your life because you're always trying twice as hard.
Albert Einstein had dyslexia. Many people had dyslexia. But who made Apple had dyslexia, and it felt really special. And some people actually want to be have dyslexia.
It's in my DNA. I have to adapt to it.
The thing that I mostly remember is how I built confidence here.
And your team took it one step further, and you taught her to believe in herself. And you taught her she was special.
They make the kids feel special. They really take their strength and they work on that. So when the kids leave, they feel like they accomplished something and they're getting better.
When I think of Logical Letters, I get very emotional because it completely changed our life.
The Logical Letter program is achieving a lot more than we could have achieved even with our best efforts.
And it was Logical Letters that gave me the confidence and the strength to sit down in a classroom and try it all over again for the 100th time.
It's not you can't do something, you just have to do it differently and find your own ways of doing it.
I wish every single child in this world who had dyslexia would have access to you and your team, because they are deserving.
If I wouldn't have came here, then I honestly don't know where I would be today. I don't even think I would have passed high school, to be honest. Or I would still be in high school.
I feel most proud of my spelling because I make a lot of books and I want people to look at my books and like the writing.
It gives them the confidence to understand why, not just how to get over it.
So Felix, tell me something. Do we like Marcy and Logical Letters? So yes, we do.
Yeah, thank you so much for everything you did because it changed our lives. It changed her life.